Welcome to episode number 3 of Calm Before the Storm. It is my pleasure and honor to introduce to you to our only guest this time around. Or is he going to be our only guest? Nubkeks.
Hello. It's great to be back.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to be back for sure. Although I still had to remind you to quit your stream in time.
Yeah. So as you guys can probably see that are watching live, I have this new microphone here. So that arrived this afternoon. So after my stream, I rushed off to set it up, and then I jumped on the stream again to test it out, and got so distracted that I again lost track of time. Yeah, nice. I think you're right. It has to be a bi-weekly reminder. Every second week, I forget.
That's what I'm actually here for. You know, I'm not here to run the show and do this thing with you. I'm just here to remind you to show up in time. All right, so thank you guys for tuning back in. I hope you guys were looking forward to the next episode. The feedback that you guys gave us up to this point, by the way, has been absolutely incredible. So thank you to everybody who tweeted at us, who left us a comment on the YouTubes, on Nubkeks' channel, or who in some way, shape, or form got, into contact with us. It's really amazing. And as a public service announcement, I do have a little bit of an announcement to make for the next podcast. To 99% are we going to be available on those super cool podcast platforms like iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and whatever else they're called. I feel like there's so many of them, and hopefully we're going to be on all the major ones for the next episode, because a lot of you guys have been asking for it, because there's high demand on good podcasts to listen to while driving, waiting, at the station, or whatever comes to your mind.
Yeah, so we're compromised. We'll give you a terrible podcast.
Yeah, exactly. So, there's a lot to talk about. One may not believe it. So, a few days ago, Nubkeks and I, we had a chat, and we were like, oh, man, what could we use, topics-wise? There's not really a whole lot available. But then came The Secret of the Nexus comic number 2. Then came 2 hero reworks, literally just released a few moments ago. It's just crazy, man. Blizzard just won't stop.
Yeah, that's right. Like, we had the Raynor and Azmodan reworks that literally just came out.
Yeah.
So as we were doing the countdown, I was just furiously rewatching those, just trying to make sure I got all the details remembered right for when we talk about them here. But yeah, there's actually been a surprising amount of stuff happen this week, which is kind of exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. So to give you guys a quick rundown of what we're going to talk about in this episode here, after we're done with the intro, of course, we're going to move on to the new comic, actually, that was released a few days ago by Blizzard, tackling a little more of the lore, that you can find in the Nexus. There was the first one already released a few months ago, I believe, that, introduced the Raven lore to us and his evil, mischievous plans of what he had in mind to do to all the Nexus worlds. And this time around, we're being joined by some new characters, actually, aren't we, Nubkeks?
Yeah, there's some very cool stuff. So I actually made a video on this because I was getting pretty hyped about it. Yeah, which is we have the first new character that shows up, Decker Kane. He's wandering around Dragonshire, and he meets this girl called Orphea. She's a very interesting look to her. She's kind of like this little girl with a giant coffin strapped to her back. She also appears to be a mage. She has some pretty powerful, aggressive not melee, but magic spells. Seems to be linked into that coffin in some way. These big, ominous, glowing eyes show up whenever she casts a spell. So, I mean, the thing that jumped to my mind straight away was this could easily be the first Nexus lore hero that is introduced to the game, because we know that they're looking into it. They want to expand the Nexus lore, perhaps add new heroes that are based in the Nexus lore alone. And definitely, I'm very curious to hear what you think about it, Kendrick, but I was definitely very skeptical of the idea. I wasn't really sure if I wanted to see it, but I actually really like the look of Orphea. I thought she looked pretty awesome, so it kind of turned me around a little bit. I'm kind of going, you know what? I don't necessarily mind. She looks pretty cool. Yeah. I want to see more of her. I want to know more about her.
Absolutely. The whole plot and the whole story, we don't want to spoiler too much about the story just in case you guys haven't read it and you just want to read it for yourselves. But it's kind of presented by Deckard Cain. Deckard Cain is the big lore keeper of, Diablo and of the Nexus, so to speak. And he basically travels the worlds trying to discover and explore the Nexus a little more. He actually starts his journey there in Dragonshire. And then he encounters, as Nubkeks said, this little girl called Orphea, and there's a couple of evil villains in there as well. Already some minions of the Raven Lord, and then later on they wandered to this kingdom. Here you can actually see the invasion going on right now. So parts of Dragonshire are already corrupted by the by the Raven Lord, and later, they walk into this unknown kingdom. We haven't really seen that one before, not even on the Dragonshire map, I guess. And they meet the Lady of Thorns, which is the queen currently of this palace and of this kingdom. That's pretty neat. And then later on, so they have a little bit of a chat, a little bit of a discussion. And the end of it basically is that, without spoiling too many details, that they form a union. They form an alliance, against the minions of the Dragon Lord. And at the very end of this comic, you can see a pretty cool picture in which, certain heroes in the Nexus are allied with the Raven Lord, and certain heroes are, rallied against him. So there's definitely more of that Dark Nexus theme coming in the near future, I guess.
Yeah, and it does tie into the new map as well. I thought it was funny when you're going through that and talking about the story. I realized that I'm actually 8 years old because I realized I had not read any of the story. I just looked at all of the pictures.
Oh, man.
That's bad, isn't it? It's so bad.
But you're lucky I didn't spoiler anything.
Yeah, well, I basically know the story just from looking at the pictures and reading the online here. Oh, I realized I'm such a child. I was like, "Ooh, look at the pretty pictures. This is great."
But yeah, to be honest, the artwork in this comic is just nuts. It's crazy good.
Yeah, it's super good. The first comic I thought was pretty good. Again, in the first comic, I thought the art was great. Personally, the first comic, the story I found is kind of, it's a little bit boring. It's just like a total setup story. It didn't really go anywhere for me. I found this one was like much more interesting. I was like, oh, what's going on here? Oh, they're meeting these characters. That's really cool. The Queen of Thorns looks awesome. Is it the Queen of Thorns?
I think the Lady of Thorns, but she's technically his queen, yeah.
Yeah, but all that sort of stuff looked really cool. And I was very intrigued as to how this is all going to tie together. Like, it definitely feels like they are setting up a bigger story and it's moving forwards. I'm just kind of sad. We're probably going to have to wait 2 months, I guess, between each one of these. I'd almost rather it come out a little bit faster now.
Especially if you compare the artwork of this comic to the ones that are currently running in World of Warcraft, right? Where they sort of build up the story for BFA. I found the last comic in particular, which dealt with Sylvanas in the Windrunner Sisters. The artwork there was good, but it was a little memey. Like, some of the pictures I don't think were intended to be that funny looking,
Okay, yeah, I get
So
you.
I'm not sure if you saw that one, but some of the facial expressions, they were a little off here. Right. No disrespect, of course. These guys still draw better than I ever could. But if you compare it to this comic, however, I feel like they really stepped it up big time.
Yeah. No, it looks great. And obviously you see all these... You catch hints of heroes in those last few images, especially.
True.
Little heroes that might pop up in the story again. So, yeah, I wonder if there's going to be like more Dark Nexus stuff. How will this come into the game at all, or is it all going to be in the comics?
Yeah,
not sure.
And especially this last picture, you see Alterac actually being like the first battlefield, the first location of confrontation between the forces of the Raven Lord and the forces of the Lady of Thorns.
Yeah, so the Raven Lord's with the Horde, because the Horde are bad guys. Everyone knows that.
They're no full evil confirmed. We had
confirmed.
We had our suspicions when Sylvanas turned a little very dire and sinister in that World of Warcraft comic, but now in Heroes of the Storm it's confirmed.
Yeah, no, definitely. Here's a question: would you like to see the Lady of Thorns? Would you like to see her as a hero in the game as well? Because that was one of the things I heard some people saying. They're like, "Oh yeah, Orphea looks pretty cool.
Yeah,
give me some of that Lady of Thorns in the game, and she looks even better." So
she looks really nice. You can see her right now on your screens, guys. Like she's a very beautiful middle-aged lady, I would say. Like very attractive, but definitely in her 30s or 40s. whereas Orphea is, I would say in her
definitely
teens.
Not in her 30s.
Yeah, she's definitely not in her 30s. I would say she's in her early teens, like maybe 12, 13, 14 years old.
Yeah.
And
it's definitely tying into, that she very much references the whole anime, like there's kind of standard anime or manga.
She's very kawaii. She's very kawaii.
Very kawaii. Yeah.
And,
she has a bit of an attitude, which I like.
Exactly.
Like that,
as long as you don't make her angry, which, there was a moment in which she actually activated her magical powers, and that was quite scary.
Yeah.
We still don't know why she's wearing a coffin on her back, so...
It's tied in. I mean, it was very interesting because apparently there is an existing manga with an anime adaptation as well, which does feature like this little princess girl with a coffin on her back. So I thought that was pretty intriguing. I was actually kind of curious. I might look into it a little bit more. I wonder if they just kind of got inspired by that, or if they're gonna take more out of it than just like a bit of a visual inspiration. Or will it draw more on the story? I'd guess it probably is just like a visual thing. They're like, oh, that's a pretty neat idea. Let's do something like that as well, but give our own twist on it and how it ties in. Yeah. Or maybe it was just coincidence. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, but I don't know, man. Who would I prefer as a new hero? I think Orphea is probably, we didn't really see the Lady of Thorns in combat yet, so we don't know if she's actually a warrior at all or if she's just a ruler. With Orphea, though, we saw like a quick outburst. We saw a quick example of what she could maybe do in combat, like being a mage, being a powerful sorcerer. It's pretty cool.
That's the Chromie rework. They're like, Chromie's Orphea now. See ya.
Oh man, don't get me started about Chromie. Like, I never thought she was, that terrible. As a hero, I always tried to defend her a little bit, but over the last few days and weeks, man, I had a lot of Brexis games against Chromies, and I'm starting to really dislike her more and more.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Yeah, I kind of in the same boat. I kind of like Chromie because I enjoyed playing her at the start, but the more I play against her, like she just does become super frustrating. I mean, a big part of it as well is that Blizzard has been steadily removing cleanses from the game.
Yes.
So... and or like ice blocks and stuff like that have been going away as well, so suddenly you have a bunch of heroes that are super vulnerable to what Chromie can do. That's part of what makes it so annoying as well.
And they've released a new battleground as well, in which she's kind of good at, because you can't really tackle her that easily. She's always protected by terrain, those narrow choke points. So
Yeah, so I mean, we do know that Chromie rework. I'm actually surprised that they brought the Raynor and Azmodan reworks, which we'll talk about in a little bit. I'm surprised that they brought those out first, because we kind of heard like, oh yeah, we're working on Raynor rework, but it's a bit out. But we are working on Chromie. We've been testing things behind the scenes. Like we're very much working on it, and we're feeling really good about some of the changes. But they've actually brought Raynor out first, so I wouldn't be surprised if Chromie was like one of the next one.
Yeah, I think there's like two things they could do. First of all, they give her a rework, and secondly is just tweak the numbers a little bit, or maybe the range. In right now she's I think without a doubt the highest range here in the game. I don't think there's anyone else who can stay that safe and dishing out that much damage. True, the abilities kind of all need skill and their skill shots, but after a while, there's a lot of players who get used to the abilities and who can stay safe and just, hit eventually, especially in maps like Brexis, where you have such a long and drawn-out laning phase. I've seen Chromies complete their quests after 5-6 minutes and then just continue to snowball from there. Or should I say,
that's the worst feeling in the world. Like, when a Chromie completes that quest super early, like, that can be so annoying. Like, let's say you're solo laning, and you're just in the solo lane. You're like, wonder how my teammates are doing down in bot and mid. And then, ding, pops up 4 minutes into the game. Chromie's completed her quest. You're like, okay, that's how it's going. It's not going well, and that feels really bad, because it's like, I feel like she's designed more so to have the quest go at the quest speed, because it's so impactful, is supposed to go at a certain level of speed, and then when you have, the thing is, this doesn't just reward skilled Chromie players. It often just rewards Chromies who are up against, I feel like, bad opponents, so people that don't sidestep. So it's not even so much a test of like, okay, skilled Chromies can finish their quests faster. It's more like Chromies with inexperienced opponents are going to stack their quest faster, and that feels like extra punishing. So that's something that definitely bothers me about it, for sure. Yeah, like I'm just not a fan of the hero in general. You know, I'm not a fan of the hero in general. I just don't like so much of her design.
Yeah.
The one thing, at least she doesn't have a silence. That's the other thing in the game that I don't like. I don't like silences. Yeah, basically heroes that it's difficult to counterplay, or where it feels like the counterplay is very determined by the draft. So it's like, okay, either you have,
like Tracer or Genji, for example, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like sometimes you're just going, okay, well, you're playing hero X with support Y. You're just going to have a horrible time against Chromie, and there's nothing you can do because you're on those heroes. That feels pretty bad. Like there's that balance you got to get where it's like, okay, well, heroes have strengths and weaknesses. There are picks and counter picks, but not to the extent where it just feels miserable. Yeah, it's kind of what I feel about that.
Can I just tell you how good your mic sounds?
Oh, does it sound good?
Yeah.
I saw someone saying it has nice warm lows, which sounds great.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's a real thing, man. But I don't know. Like, I'm really bad at the audio stuff. I don't know if you found that, but I've definitely found as a content creator, it's fairly easy to find info on how to like make good videos and good thumbnails and stuff like that. But when you try to look up, how do you make audio sound good and how does this stuff work? It's like way more arcane. Like there's far less stuff out there.
Absolutely. And, we talked about this briefly before the podcast started. Like mics are like for people like us, microphones are basically our bread and butter. Like we couldn't do this. We couldn't do anything without microphones. If you think about it, we can stream, we can make videos, we can do podcasts. So we want to splurge a little bit of money on those, but making those like sound really good. I remember like when I got this microphone, I spent literally 7 hours straight trying to find the perfect guide video or introduction video helping me out, and then I still didn't make it work.
It's just it is crazy. It's the sort of thing I think you can tinker with for ages as well to try get that perfect sound.
But I think chat is actually really happy about it, so should be
apparently so. Yeah. They're trying to ask me to say certain things. Top of the morning, you laddies. What's that Jacksepticeye thing? Hit my desk. But yeah, hopefully it does sound good through the podcast, and hopefully it will sound even better next week after I've had time to
pretty sure
mess
people
with the
will let
settings.
us know in your comment section down below.
Oh man, I wish my comments would give me feedback. Oh boy, they just don't criticize me enough.
All right, dude. So I think we're pretty much done with the comic, right? There's to wrap it up. Like once again, there's an imminent battle on Alterac Pass between the evil Drekthar and the Raven Lord and all the other dire dark specimen, and then we have the Lady of Thorns leading the coalition of the good guys, featuring Vandar and Irel, all that jazz. I can't wait to see where it takes us, to be honest. Like, are we going to have the first battle in the comic? Because up to this point, they've just been building up the plot, We haven't really seen
they have been.
any combat in the comic.
Yeah, it's building up to something. So I feel like next comic number 3 might be the one where we do see that fight that we're looking for. One question actually I saw pop up in the chat a minute or two ago was, would we recommend any ways to catch up on the lore? All of the lore so far, it's just the 2 comics. As far as I know, that's all there is
Pretty
so
much,
far.
yeah.
So,
yeah,
you can find the comics through the Heroes of the Storm website. I mean, they're linked in the launcher at the moment. Certainly the new one is, I think. So yeah, it's just, you read those 2 comics and there you go. Boom. As much as we do.
That's the cool thing. It literally just started. They just started implementing these lore sections in there. For a little bit of extra lore, I guess you could always check out the in-game store as well, because under every skin or next to every hero, there's always a little text, like little flavor text, right? So you can
that's right. Yeah.
look up the mecha skins, for example, and they give you like a brief explanation where they come from and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So I think we're good to go and move on to the second topic, which was already kind of touched upon, like Alterac Pass. We saw in the comic that it stopped there. It was the final scene that how both factions were just encountering each other on Alterac Pass. But the map itself has been out for how long? A week? 2?
It's been a week or 2 now. Yeah. It's been a little while, and there's been a whole bunch of streamer events and things. We did one together. I know you were on another one yesterday, a big one with lots of big names.
Don't mention it.
Yeah,
don't mention it.
Resounding success, right?
Well, the Alliance tried to have fun, you know. The Horde just tried to win.
Yeah, I did see you had a Gazlowe in the first game, and it didn't go too well. Yeah. Oh well. But yeah, like we've been playing the new map, and really diving in deep and seeing how it actually plays out in kind of real world games, as opposed to just the PTR games where matchmaking is basically non-existent. Yeah. So it can definitely skew things one way or another. So yeah, Kendrick, what are your thoughts on the new map now you've played it in some real games? Anything different from when you did it on PTR?
Well, they haven't really changed anything after the PTR was over, which was quite shocking to me. I definitely thought they like you got to put it in this perspective, of course. Blizzard has said multiple times that they don't use the PTR for balancing that much. The PTR for them mostly is a bug fixing ground, right? So if there's any game breaking bugs, if there's any glitches, and so on and so forth, they're gonna try to fix that there before they release something. But for scaling or balancing, not necessarily. So I even thought, even to the blindest of chickens, that should have been a warning sign that the objective is too strong, right? We talked about this multiple times. You get the first cavalry wave, and if things go well, and if the enemies are not prepared, you're just going to get a keep right off the get-go after 5 minutes. It actually happened in one of those show matches as well. Like, we thought, hey, we can defend this 3 versus 4, 3 versus 5, no biggie, right? Nope, they just pushed all the way through.
Yeah, no, that definitely still happens. I would agree. I do feel that the map, as it's playing out now, is a bit more balanced than I was worried it would be when we first played it.
We saw that during our stream, right?
Yeah, we saw that during our stream. I feel like a big part of it is that players are just getting more comfortable with playing around the objective. It takes quite a while for people to actually capture the objective now. Like, people just find that rhythm of being like, okay, well, we'll soak this, one extra wave in the lane, and now we'll move in. We have, you have a pretty big defender's advantage to try capture your point because you're constantly spawning little defender dudes like grunts or footmen, I think, that help you out. So you do have a fairly large defender's advantage. So it's utilizing that to slow down the enemy, and then using the Merc camp, the Null camp, which is super powerful as well.
It's so good, dude.
It's just really good, yeah. But timing that out, which again forces a bit of a stalemate, forces a stall.
Yeah.
So I do feel like that has mitigated it a little bit because, yes, that first objective is super powerful. I mean, they're all super powerful, but they do tend to come in the games we played on live servers. I think they are coming later on in the match than they were coming on the public test realm, where it was much harder snowballing games. So that's good. I would agree, though. I still think the objective is a little bit too strong. You get such a big movement speed buff and that damage boost when you're with the objective as well. It's very easy to, because it's a big map. Teams have to split up to defend it. It's very easy to, organize a really aggressive dive on one of those lanes, zip on past with that movement speed buff, and just totally destroy someone. Like, it could be the tank is defending a lane. You easily just dive them, completely wipe them out, smash that fort in no time flat because of that damage buff, and then push on and start getting like reasonable damage on the keep. Like, it is a real threat. Probably a little bit too strong. Like, I feel first objective in a game, getting a fort, that's good. I think if you're threatening a keep with the first objective, that's too much.
It's too much. And so the objective basically does it all, right? They're super fast. The cavalry is very fast compared to the web weavers, for example, which is kind of comparable because there's also 3 of them. They don't damage themselves, unlike the web weavers. They provide a damage boost, both auto attack and abilities. They provide an attack speed buff. They provide more healing as a result for the supports. They just do everything. Movement speed as well.
They do.
It's just crazy. Yeah. In my opinion, maybe if they removed a couple of those aspects,
I think so.
That would probably, and they gain armor, of course, the more heroes are nearby, which is something we discovered during the stream, right? So maybe take some of those aspects away or maybe just make those stronger. The first wave only has the movement speed. The second one has an attack speed boost as well. The third one has, damage boost as well. So they gradually become stronger, but teams cannot really snowball that early.
Yeah, what I would say, I'd rather they keep all the mechanics, keep them consistent throughout the waves, but definitely tune it down. Tune it down. One thing I definitely point out as being, thank you, Heku, for the host, by the way. That came up on screen, I saw.
Thank you.
But one of the huge things, which actually makes a massive difference, it's very scary and it's kind of counterintuitive, is unlike the spiders on Tomb of the Spider Queen, you mentioned this, they don't degenerate HP. So on Tomb of the Spider Queen, the spiders are constantly losing life. And what this means is, let's say you have your wave, okay, your blue team, your top lane is pushed in all the way to your keep. If this happens on Tomb of the Spider Queen, you summon in the objective. Well, you haven't pushed out your top wave, so you're punished for that, which seems fair, right? Your spider has to push all the way down the lane before it gets to enemy structures. It loses loads of HP on the way, so it's not going to do all that much. What happens on Alterac Pass, and I was watching this in one of the games, and it was terrifying, is the objective, it just pushes all the way through. It's got so much HP and it doesn't degenerate. The minions do so little damage that it basically doesn't take any damage at all. So what happens is it eventually arrives at the enemy keep at like full HP, effectively, with a giant minion wave snowball behind it, which is just insanely strong. So I feel like that maybe needs to be looked at a little bit.
It's crazy. Maybe, you're literally going to have 10 to 15 minions knocking at your front door after you get rid of the objective, right? And let's say you can't really get there in time, you're going to lose all that experience. You're going to lose experience worth of 20 minions, for example. It's really crazy, and it's really nice observation we made. Another observation we made about Alterac Pass is how strong and threatening the null camps can be. Actually, we found out that if you don't take care of the nulls, which is these are going to push down the middle lane, and they have these armor debuffs comparable to the fire bats on Braxis, they're going to take down your middle keep without breaking a sweat.
Yeah, they're super strong.
They're probably even scarier in the early game than the bosses.
I would definitely say so. Like, they're crazy strong. They're significantly strong. Well, number one, they're way easier to take than the bosses, and number two, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm about, I'd say 80% sure, I'd lay the bet that they do significantly more damage than the bosses. They're super powerful. I think they do AoE cleaves. They reduce armor as well, and they're pretty tanky. And there's 3 of them. They reduce the armor on the buildings as well. So they just tear through those lanes. It's crazy. I mean, the one thing that balances it out is that it's mid lane, so it's easy enough to get to compared to the other lanes. And the teams, it's symmetrical. They both have a null camp that pushes in mid, but it's super powerful. It's like the Shaman camp on the Diablo maps. It's so important to take that and to make the most out of it because they do so much damage. So yeah, the null camp is scary. Yeah, it's probably the strongest merc camp in the game actually now.
Probably, and they have a very low cooldown timer as well, so you should always have it ready before the objective starts, before the prisoner camps open. So definitely take care of those. That's for sure. And we actually saw some tactical timings already, right? During our stream, during the Call to Arms event, like teams were really precise and really just keen on getting the mercenaries just slightly later than their opponents, because that meant they could use the defender's bonus to depush the enemy merc camp, and then their own mercs would get more value.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, when we were doing it, I was trying to organize like my team during some of those games. Like, come on, we need to get these merc camps, guys. Come on, let's stop laning. Come on, you should do the merc camp real quick. Like, Kendrick's team's gonna do it, and then bing, Kendrick's captured them. I was like, God damn it, Kendrick is way ahead of us on this. But yeah, like capturing that. I'm not 100% sure what the ideal timing is. It's like, okay, do you want to capture them on cooldown because they're so strong and push with them? Do you want to time it at the same time as the objective, like the Shaman camps and the Diablo maps? I'm not 100% sure yet, but it feels like no matter what you do at the moment, they have a massive impact. Yeah. They're super strong.
That's kind of like the downside of it, right? That's kind of the negatives. But on the flip side, on the positives, I think it's fairly easy for Blizzard to just collect some data and then just adjust the scaling, the damage output, the numbers of these objectives, right? Because it's not like on compared to, let's say, Hanamura, in which the map objective, the mechanics itself was flawed. Here you can just adjust the numbers and you still have a wonderful battleground. So I'm wondering, I'm curious to see when they're going to adjust that.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I think the battleground has really good potential. I mean, the same thing happens whenever they make a new battleground. They tweak it a bit. I mean, like Tomb of the Spider Queen saw quite a lot of tweaks. Infernal Shrine saw tweaks.
Dude,
they all saw tweaks. I think it's a really good battleground. Like, I personally didn't like either the StarCraft maps all that much. I actually did really like Hanamura, but that was like a personal thing. I know it had balance problems, but this one I really like, and I think it has great potential as well. So I'm feeling pretty good about it. I think they did a great job with this one.
Agree. Couldn't agree more. I think there's a lot of stuff that we can expect from the battleground. I think they wanted to implement it into the ranked mode once the new season goes live, right? And I'm pretty sure we're going to see changes until then.
Yeah. So that's halfway through next month. It's going to be out.
Yeah, I think it's the week of July 9th. That's when they're going to have season 3. Alongside some other changes, which I'm very excited about, like more thorough matchmaking. You know, the queues might be a little bit longer as a result, but I'm willing to take that if the games, you know, have higher quality.
Yeah, I think everyone is willing to do that. I mean, nothing feels worse than, you know, you sit in, even if it's a quick queue, you go into a game and it's a horrible game and you're like, oh my God, that's like 20 minutes of suffering minus 200 points. Oh, that feels so bad. So I don't think, you know, giving up an extra minute or 2 of queue time in order to avoid that a lot more often, that's going to be a good trade, I think.
Let's be honest, right now, if you have a quick queue, maybe even an insta queue, you know, oh shoot, it's going to be the same players again. And if there was a special candidate already, like the classic Kerrigan first pick, then you know, oh shit, is it going to be my team or is the enemy team going to have him?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a few days where I've had that, you know, it's like there's this one dude who's playing awful, and it's just like, okay, well, which team is he going to be on 50-50? The other team is going to win. That does suck. Yeah. Usually they leave after about 4 games, but still, you can be there for like an hour and a half and be like, okay, well, that one player to find all of those games, that's just mad. But yeah.
And I think new accounts, like brand new accounts who play ranked for the first time can place higher than platinum.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I think platinum 5, I think, is going to be the maximum placement if you've never placed in ranked before. And I think that's a good call.
Totally.
You know, like platinum players are pretty solid when it comes to mechanics. You know, they're pretty decent. So it's a good place to go. You know, your first time ever playing ranked on an account, that's fine. You know, climbing up the ranks, that's going to be a good thing to be able to do and to practice. And definitely if you are a new player, you know, it's a bit different for Smurfs, but I don't particularly feel like we need to cater to Smurfs. But if you're a new player, like I know I went and played Overwatch, right? I got placed into the top of platinum in Overwatch. And I was like, I'm terrible. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And I got up to diamond, and I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And everyone's like, dude, you have no idea what you're doing. I was like, yeah, I know. So I just like lost all these games. It's like, there's no way I should be here. Like, I played Mercy in like my placement games. It's like, this hero is super easy, and I just fly around and heal people. Like I don't have to do anything. So then I felt really bad because I was like, okay, well, I'm in all these games and I don't know what to do. Like, I've just been placed way too high. It's just ridiculous.
And that was essentially, or still is essentially, the problem for a lot of players out there as well. You know, who currently plays Diamond or Master because of these most recent changes. It's not necessarily their fault that they don't perform as well as other people would like them to. It's simply the matchmaking, you know, being a little too generous at the moment. And I think, you know, removing new accounts, Smurf accounts even, from the higher ranks like Diamond and Master is definitely a good first step. And I can't wait to see where that's going to work out. And another side effect, I'm not sure if you're down for this, but I can already see myself making a Smurf and then just playing Platinum and try to grind my way all the way up again.
Yeah, dude. That's 100% what I want to do. It's like, okay, let's get an insight into what's the new player experience.
Yeah.
Just climbing all the way up.
Exactly.
I mean, it's something like you probably did it as well. But I did it like because we had preseason before like the current rank system even existed. Where it's like ranks 50 to 1.
Yeah.
And you would place at the bottom, or well, not at the bottom, but your placement games. You had 20 then. And you began at the bottom of the ladder.
Dude, did we really have 20 placements games back in the days? There were 20
placement games. Jeez. Yeah, there was. That was an interesting experience for me. Like going through those 20 games, because you basically started at the equivalent of like bronze right now. And like you climb up. I remember one of the weirdest things was, like, it took about 10 games. I think I won I won nearly all of them, right? So it went from playing with bronze, like rapidly climbing up until we're playing. I was playing with rank 1 players from placement game number 10 out of 20. It was with all rank 1 players, which is about the equivalent of diamond now. Put it in context. Like rank 1 was huge. It was way too broad. But so then I played the last 10 placement games with rank 1 dudes, and then it placed me. But like the max placement was something like rank 5 or rank 10 or something. So it went from this rapid climb. Okay, now you're playing with like rank 1 level players for a whole bunch of games, and then it's like, okay, now we're gonna put you back down a whole bunch of ranks. So it was this real weird mindset change, because you do have to have a very different mindset between like when you're playing like at your skill level, with players of similar skill, which is the ideal thing for everyone. That's going to be the most, in my opinion anyway, that's the most fun experience of the game. Like you have a particular mindset, a particular approach to it. If you're playing against players that are better than you, you have to adjust the way that you play and look at the game to accommodate for that. When you're playing against players that are weaker than you, same thing. So it was really bizarre to have like this sudden shift back then. It was like, oh, wait. So, like I think I lost like 2 or 3 games because I was like, wait, these games are totally different. What's going on here? And then I was like, okay, readjust the mindset, look at it again. Okay, go, and then back in and climb back up. It was kind of funny there, but yeah,
I'm super excited about the new season. Like they promised us a lot of goodies. We're gonna get a new map in there as well. Others might get removed. Praxis, for example.
It literally did just make me choke on my tea a little bit there. But yeah, I wouldn't object to seeing Praxis go. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
It's been nice, while it lasted, but it's time for a break maybe.
Yeah, like that's one of the maps I think is really difficult to make it work.
In the higher ranks, absolutely. Like a lot of pro players actually, and I totally agree with those. Like if you're, let's say I would say this even starts in Diamond, higher Diamond.
Yeah.
If you have an inferior draft, then it's going to be so much harder for you to win on Brexit in the first place. And if you have equal, roughly equal drafts in terms of strength, one mistake, one person dying to a beacon and then the enemy team gets a Zerg wave, or one person messing up or not paying attention, it could snowball out of controls because the Zergs are so damn powerful.
Yeah, for me, I like to compare Braxis and Dragonshire because I think they're very similar. You've got top and bottom, you've got the capture point that you have to hold, but the big difference is in Dragonshire, you're rotating between different lanes. The Merc camps, there's interesting stuff that happens with those as well. And in order to capture the Dragon Knight, you have to not only control the 2 middle points, you then have to capture the midpoint as well. Whereas in Braxis, once you control the top and bottom, you're already winning and building up the objective. So I think there's a lot more room for counterplay in Dragon.
What would you say if both teams could charge up the beacons like we can do it now, but before they are able to activate the Zergs, after completing 2 beacons, they need to go to the middle or somewhere else in the map and activate the Zergs, so the enemy team could actually set up heroes there and prevent them from unleashing them.
Yeah, there you go. Like, I mean, like that, you make it more like Dragonshire. That would be one way, Okay, so it's like the same. Just get rid of the boss, put another lane in the middle, and put a big lever that opens the cages in the middle. So it's like you have to pull the lever in order to trigger the wave. And it's got a channel time, like the Dragon Knight. There you go. I think that would make it better.
The enemy team has to hold the door. Hold the door.
Hold the door, it's one of those things. I think Braxis is tricky. I think it's really tricky. I feel like there's some fundamental problems with that map. I like a lot of it. I think a lot of it is cool. And the Zerg wave is cool, but I feel like it's very difficult. It just does snowball very hard, and it does feel like, unlike a map like Dragonshire or Infernal Shrines, where you've got options, or you can go to other lanes, push other lanes, you can try other things, you can out-rotate, do smart play, can get you back in the game potentially. I feel like on Braxis, that's really tough, because it's like, you're just kind of stuck sometimes. You feel it feels bad sometimes, I will say. So yeah, I'd like for Alterac Pass to take its place. I know they did say they have updates planned for Braxis as well, which is reassuring. So I'm interested to see what they do with that.
Let me see what we're currently waiting for. So maybe there's going to be Braxis holdout changes in the distant future. In the near future, hopefully, we're going to see Hanamura again.
Yeah.
They said they were still working on a Blackheart's Bay update.
Yes. Yeah. That could be interesting.
That could be really interesting, actually.
It's a very different map. Yeah, I think for me, at the moment, I would say the thing about Blackheart's Bay, like, it's the coins, right? It's the most unique thing.
Yeah.
But the way that it works, right, is that the map is weird. I feel like it's a very snowbally map, because you start getting the coins, you get turn-ins.
It's also the most predictable map in terms of rotations, right?
Yeah.
Because there's so much terrain that you cannot access. So it's relatively easy for the enemies, especially if they're well organized, to predict where the opponents are probably going to be at, and then avoid them if you have a lead. On the flip side, if you're trying to make something happen in order to get back into the game, you might find it really frustrating to always face kiting and running opponents.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? Because it's the way the coins work. When you're winning the game, you have a lot of coins, you got a level lead, but unlike other maps where it's like, we're winning the game, we want to push aggressively, we want to capitalize.
Exactly, you don't want to do that.
Yeah, Black Hearts you don't, because if you just play it super patiently, you play around the merc camps, and you force the enemy team to respond to it, you play it slow, you can just very slowly and successfully snowball the game. If you take a risk and you take a fight, if you lose that fight, you give comeback experience to the enemy team. That happens on every map. But on this map, you also lose all the coins that you had. That happens on Tomb of the Spider Queen as well. On this one, it's even worse, because not only do you lose the coins, you now give those coins to the enemy team. So it's like a double level of loss. And then because you're dead, you give them a free turn in as well. So if you take a risk and you lose on Black Hearts Bay, like if you lose a team fight, the comeback mechanics are so strong in that sense that it just completely discourages that aggressive play. So oftentimes, like there's a few games I've played on that one, like in Hero League, where you're like, okay, well, we've won the game. Like, you know, maybe 5-10 minutes in, like we've got such a huge lead. We know we've won the game, but you got to wait another 10 minutes to close it out. And there's almost no chance for any team to come back. But it's like the map is so big and there's so much to lose if you take a risk that it's like, well, we can't actually take a risk that easily and push in aggressively and capitalize on that. So
I think that's like the straight up opposite of a map like Towers of Doom, and I think that might be the reason why Towers of Doom is so great to watch and play in the upper competitive 100%. Levels. We barely see that many comebacks in any other battleground, right? Because if you have a lead on Towers of Doom, you can close out the game immediately, but you're still going to have to take risks in order to maintain that lead, right? You can't just sit back and let the enemies recapture everything. So that's, I think, one of the reasons why Towers of Doom is such a fun map to watch and such an action-packed map with so many combat mechanics. Yeah,
it's a really interesting one. Like the objective doesn't give you any XP. It just gets you scored on the board. So yeah, that is I think Towers of Doom is a great map. All right.
Yep.
Or like, you know, again, like Infernal Shrines is another one I really like too because of this. It's like, okay, you can give up objectives and you can do other things. I feel like that's a nice map for some variety and strategy. Yeah, they're the sort of maps that I kind of like you'd aspire to have in the game. That's the sort of the quality of map that you want. A map that has multiple strategies. There's opportunity for comebacks, but it also rewards good play. It's a very difficult line to tread, you know? That is a difficult line to stick to. But those maps do it really well, yeah.
So now we talked a little bit about potential map reworks, new maps like Ultrek making it into ranked. But before we started this podcast, before we started episode 3, Nubkeks, there were 2 videos of new hero reworks released by Blizzard. I'm pretty sure that not all of you may have watched them yet. So I think before we start talking about Azmodan and Jimmy, yep, you heard right. Jimmy's going to get some attention and love. Why don't we watch the videos together on stream? What do you think about it?
Sure. Yeah, that sounds great to me. Let's do it.
So I'm going to get everything ready here real quick. So we're now talking about Raynor and Azmodan picks. Boom. Let's move on here. This should do the trick, right? Awesome.
It's James Eugene Raynor.
Is Eugene actually his second name? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he says it in the update. I was like, what? Eugene?
Really?
Yeah. Doesn't seem like a Eugene.
I can't believe. All right, now I'm just going to have to take a look at this scaling here. Oh my God, I've never done this before. Let's see. Is it going to work out?
Live stuff.
Damn, live stuff.
Kendrick, all your recommended videos are lolly anime ones. What's up with that? Caught out.
All right, I think this should be it. Oh yeah, I think I got it. Okay, give me just a minute, guys.
Awesome.
There goes the video.
Yeah,
I normally cut this scene a little bit because there is some stuff we normally don't need.
For sure.
But here it goes. Let's watch the good old Daddy Asmo and see what his updates are going to be.
All right.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Heroes of the Storm Dev Pit. I'm Kevin, and I'm here to talk you through a few of the changes coming to the Lord of the Dunk himself in his upcoming rework. Azmodan is getting a bunch of new tools with small but meaningful changes coming to all of his basic
Kevin Michael Johnson. I would kill for a name like that.
Heroic. Let's check it out.
It's pretty good.
Azmodan now receives stacks of annihilation when killing minions or hitting heroes with Globe of Annihilation. Each point increases the ability's base damage. However, the impact area is visible sooner, allowing enemy heroes more time to dodge when firing from long range. At level 1, Azmodan has 3 talents that help him gain extra stacks of annihilation.
Love the names, by the way, on those talents.
Rewards depending on your play
yeah, they're great. I'm actually, it's funny, I'm a bit behind you, right? Because I'm watching the stream.
Oh, you already started watching it? I see.
Yeah. No, I'm watching it
because of the delay.
So
I see. Yeah.
But yeah, all the 7 deadly sins.
through his level 4 talents. Army of Hell allows him to summon 2 demon warriors at once. Hellforged Armor gives armor and increased duration to warriors and lieutenants. And Battleborn reduces the cooldown of his minions through auto attacks. All Shall Burn, his E ability, now has a set channeling time that will do bonus damage upon completion.
That's one of my favorite changes, by the way, the changes to his E.
Ability also pairs well with certain
It's very
talents.
interesting, yeah. It reminds me a lot of Reworks.
Damages all nearby enemies at the end of the cast.
True.
And grants annihilation for every
yeah, it's pretty cool.
hero
I thought the talents as well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you saw that part of the video, but there's like the explosion effect. That looks super awesome.
Just wait for the 20 talent. Do you remember what it does?
Asmo's heroic ability, Black
just
Pool,
wait.
has been redesigned into Tide of Sin. When activated, Tide of Sin will allow your next Globe of Annihilation to be cast for free and do increased damage. At level 20, the Trample talent allows Azmodan to charge in any direction for an aggressive engage or
That's
a
like my
quick
10
escape.
second.
Oh, sick, dude.
Any enemies caught in his path are slowed, making them easy targets
Just
for a
trample your opponents, slow them.
So
good.
The Lord of Sin is
The
ready
thing that
to
made me
unleash
chuckle
his
about
hellish
that,
armies
right,
and
was
dunk
right.
on
I'm pretty sure in the
anyone
video,
foolish
right after
enough
it shows
to
off
get
the
in
trample
his
talent, it pops up. Yeah,
Make sure to leave us a
it pops up
comment
like
and
the bullet
subscribe to
points.
Heroes
This
of the
is what the
Storm around
Azmodan
the web,
update is.
and
It's like
we'll
first
see
bullet point. After just doing the trample charge, you squash everyone. You solidify his role as a long range specialist. It's like that is not long range, Blizzard. That is full up giant demon butt in your face. That's the opposite.
So nice, though. So in the end, I think we can wrap it up and summarize it as a lot of the tweaks and gadgets that Azmodan had, and he had to invest either a talent into it or it was one of his heroic abilities, are now like baseline. For example, the stacking, right? You have now 2 talents combined to 1. The Taste for Blood and what was the other one called? Sieging Wrath are now all combined together. You kill minions, you get stacks. You hit enemy heroes, you get stacks. So it's going to be faster stacking altogether.
Yeah, I think it's great. Yeah, like you said, I mean, Azmodan was one of the heroes that had the most power in his talents. Like, to the extent that, like laser build Azmodan, if you're not laser build Azmodan, the laser feels extremely weak. If you're going like the dunk build, the dunk is strong, but if you're not dunk build, it feels really weak. And same thing with all of his abilities. They felt like really bad until you put talents into them. So that's, I think, what a big part they're going to try to do with this rework for sure as well, is just make that sort of gameplay baseline and have the talents be interesting choices rather than like these completely defining choices. And it just feels bad without. Yeah, so I mean, Q stacking is baseline now. I know that you get, if you can bring up, I don't know if it's easy to find, but it showed all the level 1 talents at one stage in the video. Let me try to find it as well.
Yeah, I can find that. That's
but yeah, so
related.
Yeah, it's about 47.
There we go. Yeah, we found it. So Greed, Gluttony, and Wrath.
Yeah, so your Q is going to stack baseline Annihilation stacks, which increase its damage, I presume. You're going to get those for killing, I think it's killing minions, or for hitting heroes. So it does both baseline, and then these ones add extra things on. So the Greed one, it just makes it easier.
Better PvE, better wave clear.
Yeah, it's just better to stack against that. And then when you've got 200, each of them gives you a bonus when you get 200 Annihilation. So the Greed one, more damage against minions and mercenaries, so it's all PvE. Gluttony, is
you stack
it's
up
better against heroes.
Exactly. So you stack up faster by hitting enemy heroes.
Yes.
And the last one is quite interesting.
The most interesting one. Yes.
Basic attacks will now give you annihilation as well. So not only are you, I can see that being super awesome on larger maps like Warhead Junction, for example, or Curse Hollow, which were actually really unfavorable sometimes for Azmodan because you can't stack from lane to lane. You can't have skirmishes all the time. So if you happen to be on a larger map and you still land auto attacks on enemy heroes, it actually doesn't say enemy heroes. It says basic attacks. So we don't know if it's going to be enemy heroes or minions as well. So
so it's basic attacks against heroes, stack the quest.
Yeah.
But then it looks like if you hit a hero with the globe, it does say actually, it says hitting a hero with the globe will increase the damage of his next basic attack against them. So that's actually quite interesting. So it's not like a Bronze Talons from Chromie where it boosts his basic attack. It's more like charge missiles or charge strike, whatever it is from Li Ming, where it leaves a mark on everyone and you can trigger it. Is what I assume. You got 4 seconds to, let's say you dunk like 3 heroes in a team fight. You should have time to basic attack each one of those to proc the extra damage bonus. I think that's very intriguing as a talent. Like that's a new type of gameplay, which is cool.
For sure.
So I thought that was awesome. And then level 4, you've got like Demon Warrior talents as as which is pretty cool. So
you summon like 2 at the same time.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, I think the Demon Warriors are probably one of the most underrated abilities in the game because they don't deal that much damage. But on a map like Ulteric Pass, for example, these things are going to be so pesky and annoying because every tiny little demon attack is going to interrupt your channel on these objectives. So if you have more of them, the enemy also sometimes these demon warriors can mess with auto attackers, right? Because if you don't stutter step very correctly, then sometimes heroes will attack the demons instead of a nearby hero. So never underestimate the power of these little buggers.
Yeah, for sure. Did they say, are they changing his the heroic that summons in like the army of demons? Is that still there?
I don't think so. They didn't mention it.
I don't remember seeing anything about it. Yeah.
But they changed the other one.
They did.
So it's no longer like boosting all the damage of Azmodan, but just the next basketball, just the next
Yeah,
scope.
you know what? Like I actually don't like it. I don't like that. So the way it works now, you've got Blackpool, which is the current one.
There we go, Tides of Sin.
Yeah, I don't remember like the cooldown or any specifics of that, but what it does is you can place down this black pool on the ground about the size of like Malf roots, and while it boosts the damage of all of your summons that are inside. It also boosts your damage on everything while you're inside. So it boosts your basic attacks. That's a big deal. It boosts the laser damage. It makes the dunks better. The new one, Tides of Sin, will just empower it. You just cast it. It gives you like a buff. You know, it's not stationary or anything, and it makes your next globe free and do more damage. But to me, you lose out a lot of cool gameplay things. Like I love doing that with Azmodan. Like Azmodan's one of my favorite heroes.
You can
one of my favorite things.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Like I like doing cool little things. Like okay, you know, you pop down at Blackpool, you dunk someone, and then you start doing these Blackpool basic attacks, which actually hit quite hard on like a priority target. And people don't know how to play around it, or you know, you can sometimes use Blackpool. I want a Blackpool laser this Illidan who just dived my backline, stuff like that. I actually think there's quite a lot of fun little gameplay to Blackpool. So I'm actually a bit disappointed that they removed it,
right?
Because I thought it was one of the cooler heroics in the game. My suspicion is that they had to remove it because they found that it completely imbalanced some of the talents.
Yes,
like especially
that's
you've got
very likely to be the case.
Level 1, which boosts your basic attack damage. That if they had Blackpool interacting with other stuff, it just wouldn't work with the new design. And they're like, okay, we can only have it work with dunk. Well, we might as well just bake it into the dunk, you know? So
or you have crazy demon builds, and all of a sudden you have more demons than before, and these things will hit even harder. So I'm pretty sure I'm totally agreeing with you. I think because of the new talents and some of the new tweaks they gave to Asmo, they had to remove it because a damage boost to everything Asmo provides would have been too strong.
Yeah, I'd like to see Blackpool as it used to be come back and on a different hero maybe though, because I think it's a cool mechanic. You know, there's buff zone. Everything you do while in that zone is going to be empowered. I think that's a cool little idea. So I'd like to see it come back with another hero because I am kind of sad that that's going to be gone.
True.
I like nearly everything else about the rework. I like the E change. I like the W change. I like the Q stuff. The talents look great.
What would be your final verdict of the rework? Like, how promising does it look? Of course, we don't know how good it's going to be, but first impressions, hands down, what would be your preview verdict?
Yeah, I mean, first impressions, extremely positive. I think it looks great. Like I said before, like when we started talking about this, I feel like Azmo at the moment is so defined by his talents, and all the cool gameplay is locked behind talents. I think this one, putting the interesting stuff like stacking baseline is good. Having actually interesting talent choices and variety is going to be good as well. I think it looks great. I think it looks like they've just improved how Azmodan is just a better design for the hero. So I think it looks good.
Cool. Yeah. I think I couldn't agree more. And now we're going to move on to the other hero that received a little bit of Blizzard love.
Eugene.
Let's go. No, I mean, a lot of people have been waiting for this, right? It's actually become a living meme. Raynor's never going to see an upgrade or a rework. It's the worst hero in the game. And that is no longer going to be true. Let's take a look. Boom. Took them 3 years.
Everybody? I'm Kevin from the Heroes of the Storm dev team, and that's right.
I'm scared to talk. I want to hear you say
the long-awaited
hear him say
Eugene. Commander James Eugene Raynor is here.
James Eugene Raynor, there you go.
There you go.
He's added a good bit of nuance to the Outlaw that will heavily reward skillful play. Let's take a look. No
look at him go. Look at Jimmy.
Save, Adrenaline
Look at him go.
Is now an activatable ability.
One thing to watch for, the bit he's shooting the Zebo, you see that the bullet comes out like at an angle from the gun, immersion room.
Allowing players to heal on their own terms. Although the cooldown is longer, it can be significantly reduced by attacking enemies. When the Raynor's Raider heroic is selected, Jimmy summons a single Banshee that will travel with him.
I want to see how tanky that Banshee is.
By hostiles.
So I don't think they used it in this video.
Continue to attack enemies that
it shows the damage, then it regens HP. It's not in the fight. It seems like it must be out for quite a long time.
Provided it does not take damage. If destroyed,
because it regens health, and if it gets destroyed, a new one flies in after the life.
It comes back, exactly.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's like a permanent Nisha-esque summon, or if it's just out for like 20, 30 seconds.
On every 4th shot, Raynor will do increased damage that will splash to all nearby enemies. This can be used to prioritize high-value targets and punish enemies that group up. In addition, Jimmy has several new talents that synergize with Acquire Weak Spot. At level 1, Seasoned Marksman is replaced by Veteran Marksman.
One question I have as well, he has a reload animation,
but
I don't
think
it's tied into the splash, which is a bit of a pity.
At level 7, Unstable
I'm not sure, I can't quite tell if it is or not. But it'd be cool if he reloaded his gun before he did the
And at level 20, Weak Spot acquired.
Wait, did he actually kill the Nazebo in that?
Allowing your team to quickly mop up any heroes that find themselves on the
No, he just slows them down, but it's like he points the gun like to the right, and then the bullet comes out at like a 20-degree angle. It goes a little bit.
So it's
different.
like a Mechaterial who follows like his target. Let's see.
No, it's like it didn't follow the target.
Oh, it didn't
properly.
follow the target. I thought you would actually like follow the enemy with his gun like the Mechaterial does.
Nah, man, I'm just like needlessly nitpicking like the tiniest detail that you won't ever notice in the game.
All right, so that was the Jimmy for the most part. Update talent tree with new design philosophies, maintain focus on auto attack builds, which is nice. We need more good auto attackers for sure. Give more control of the base kit to the player, which also feels really good. You can now activate your heal when you want it to be activated. You have a 4th AoE splash shot. You no longer have Seasoned Marksman, though, if I saw that correctly. So,
dude, it's Veteran Marksman.
Exactly.
Now.
So it only applies to
radically
the
different. Yeah. I thought that was kind of funny that they're like, change it. Seasoned Marksman. What sounds like Seasoned Marksman? What means they're the same thing? Veteran Marksman. Boom. Go for it. But yeah, I think it's cool. You know, like that's the thing. Raynor, his trait before basically did nothing, and then his E was basically totally passive as well. So I think this is much improved that you have like that passively working trait.
Yeah.
Every 4th attack splashes that that will actually impact the way that you play the hero. And then that his E is activatable. I know it activates, it heals you for like some of your missing HP. I don't know if it's kind of like a Garrosh-esque heal, where it heals you. It's literally like 10% of your missing HP kind of thing, or if it's just like, okay, heals you 25% of your max HP flat, no matter what. I don't know. I presume there'd be talents that will do either or anyway. But yeah, I think it looks great. I presume as well his Q and his W are basically unchanged, which I think is totally fine. You know, keep them fairly simple and focus them in on the basic attacks.
And his W is now going to be more relevant than ever because it allows you to get more splashes, right? So
well, that's true. Yeah.
So
definitely,
I can already see Raynor now with this additional splash damage to become like a mini Kel'Thas, in which he becomes very powerful against melee heavy compositions. Let's say there's 3 melees in one comp, like a melee assassin, a bruiser, and a tank, or 2 bruisers, 2 tanks, whatever. If they come together, if they stick together a lot, and Jimmy's just gonna, you know, unload his damage onto them, I think it's gonna be a lot of sustained damage that he can dish out.
Yeah, I think that's great. You know, I mean, that is Jimmy's niche at the moment, right? Is he has very high single target sustained damage. Like, he is great at melting tanks, at melting those front lines. That's the thing he does well. So I think it's cool that they're kind of keeping that thematically in the kit.
They also kept his auto tech range, which is higher than others.
Yeah, that's good. Is it still higher? I know that Hanzo just by default used
Hanzo probably stole the show. Yeah,
they nerfed it down a bit. Hanzo's one, so Jimmy's might be bigger now. But yeah, I mean, the splash damage on that, the new trade as well, that will obviously probably help a bit with wave clear too.
True.
Which is normally something that you do look for when you're choosing, you know, like Vala, those type of heroes, Vala, Phoenix. They normally come with these basic attack heroes. Normally do have fairly reasonable AoE as well, typically. So to fit into that meta, it's nice to see that Raynor will have some more AoE type things that will assist a little bit in that. Whereas now he's kind of useless at wave clear. So yeah, I mean it looks pretty simple, right? But I think it's good.
Yeah,
and
there's a lot of quality of life improvements. You know? Especially the E. I think that cannot be stressed enough how important that is. If you played a little bit of Raynor yourselves, guys, then you probably all know this moment when you play against heroes like, let's say, a Tracer is probably the prime example, and she pokes you down to 20%. She drops the bomb onto you, and just before your E's even able to kick in, you end up dying because your E can't counter-heal that much damage. That happens so many times, and right now, if you're a smart Raynor player, you can counter that last-second burst damage by simply activating your E earlier, right? And Tracer's never going to be able to one-shot you again like she can right now. And that, of course, goes to a lot of other burst-heavy heroes like Maiev, the Kel'Thuzad, for example. All these heroes will have a much tougher time now when it comes to really quickly blowing Jimmy out of his socks. So can't wait to see what this rework is going to do to him.
Yeah. No, I think it looks great. Yeah, I mean, I think that both Azmo and Raynor, they were nice heroes in their own way, for sure. Like I said, I mean, Azmodan's one of my favorite heroes, but there's no question they are both very old heroes. Yeah. A very old design, an old type of design, very dated. And they feel very clunky, and they just don't feel as nice as these newer heroes with you know, just the way that they're designed now.
What's really nice about Blizzard showing some love to these 2 heroes in particular, in my opinion, is that, you know, as you said, Nubkeks, Azmo is a very special hero. He has a very unique playstyle, and he adds a lot of siege. He adds a lot of long distance poke and wave clear. So if you put a hero like that back into the meta, teams will have to adjust, right? Teams will have to maybe rely on other heroes like Zagara or Dehaka to really stop this, because otherwise Azmo's just going to push you in. Same with Jimmy. He could potentially become the strongest auto attacker, or one of the strongest auto attackers in the game, if his kit fits in nicely. So that all of a sudden puts blinding heroes, maybe like Lily Artanis, back to the game, and, you know, gives them their own spot in the meta, because those heroes are probably not very existent right now. So it's really cool to see if those hero reworks, you know, come to fruition. If they give us good value, then we might see other heroes as a consequence finding their way back into the meta.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's great. I mean, you know, like those basic attack heroes, I think it's a really fun type of gameplay. I know it's like it's a very big deal in
old school
other
MOBAs,
you know? As well. Yeah. But we don't have a ton. It's just the way Heroes is designed that abilities do play a big role. There's not that many heroes that are extremely reliant on basic attacks. I mean, like Butcher.
Zul'jin maybe.
Zul'jin.
That's it.
Raynor. I mean, like Vala is, but she also has a lot of abilities too.
Are you saying that Vala should always go auto attack build?
No.
Dodge the bullet here.
It did work okay in that live stream we did the other day. It worked okay, but no, I'm not a fan of that. But I do enjoy, though, the basic attack gameplay. I think it's fun. So, hey, having Raynor be an actual modern hero that could be played, that ties into that's great. Like I was playing Phoenix earlier on today and having a blast because Phoenix is awesome. I love the basic attack stuff that Phoenix does. So, yeah, having more of those types of heroes, that's a nice, variety to have in the game.
It's good. So can't wait to see when those come into play. And the way Blizzard has been, turning on the heat lately, I might not even be surprised if they get released relatively soon. We saw balance changes as well. Irel is not, but man, we can even talk about that. But we're running out of time. I think if we open that bottle, But they've been really cranking out these changes, man.
Yeah, no, they have been. I would guess that these reworks are going to be on the PTR on Monday.
Maybe, yeah.
And then they'll probably be on the live server the following week at the patch. So probably with the next, with the new season, I would guess. That's usually the way these things work.
Yeah.
I'm very sad because I'm going to be away on holiday next week. So I'm going to miss. The core of how my business works is covering the big hot snooze stuff.
Damn it.
And I'm going to miss like 2 huge reworks. Disgusted. It's going to be an expensive holiday, you know what I mean? Oh, well. But yeah, I'd expect that probably be on the PTR.
As long as you're back for the next con before the storm.
Yeah, I will be. Yeah. We've timed it well. It lined up with the 2 week, every 2 weeks. I'm going to be back. So no worries there.
So
yeah.
I think a lot of people, I saw some of them, some comments about it as well in Twitch chat. A lot of people were like,
"Oh yeah,
are you ever going to introduce who that third guest is going to be? Like, what is that picture all about?" And I think it might be time to show you guys who has been hiding, lurking in his den, all the while. Okay, we're gonna try to coordinate. Okay, I'm gonna put the image up there. And I'm gonna count down. You're gonna reveal the name, because it's your fault he's here. Well,
okay, I'm ready.
3, 2, 1.
It's Eugene. No, it's Hogger. Hogger. Someone in chat actually knew. Oh my god! Just before you revealed it, someone in chat was like, "It's Hogger, isn't it?" Yep.
Yeah, there we go. Public service announcement. It is not official. This is not Blizzard confirmed. It is merely our brains just going crazy that we could maybe have Hogger in the game at some point. So don't go to Reddit, don't go to Twitter and say, "Oh my god, they spoilered it. We know the next year is going to be," because we don't. It's just our imagination, right? Okay. Blizzard, please don't hurt us.
Hogger confirmed. Same patch as Raynor and Azmodan reworks. I want it on Twitter right now. No, I'm messing. Don't do that.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'm the mastermind behind this one.
And let me tell you one thing. This Nubkeks outdid himself.
Oh.
It's an amazing kit, and I've done some of those kits in the past when I ran a show with Tetcher, and we basically crafted the hero concepts there, and I have rarely seen a cooler kit, so I can't wait to kick this thing off with you guys. And Nubkeks is going to do us the pleasure of introducing the abilities and the designs that he was thinking about.
All right.
Boom.
Also, we should say, shout out to Dragonflame.
Oh, man, dude. I was going to do it because the people are now going to see the whole beauty of his drawings, man. Dragonflame, who's doing the sub emotes, actually, for both of our channels on Twitch.
Yep.
He's an amazingly talented artist. He's very friendly, very reliable, and very quick as well, which is basically all the qualities you would want of an artist.
Yeah, it ticks all the boxes.
Yeah. So he was basically in charge for this one, which is pretty awesome. So all the images, all the graphics you're gonna see of off Hogger here are basically made possible because of him.
Yep, I actually haven't. I've only seen the main picture. I haven't seen any of the ability icons yet, so I'm pretty excited to see these as well.
Nice. So we're gonna surprise a lot of people. You included. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Introduce your concept, your ideas behind it. And
okay,
let's make it a good one.
All right, cool. So this is Hogger. He is going to be like a warrior / bruiser type hero. I mean, when I was thinking about him, there's a few things I wanted to do. I mean, it's funny actually that the Raynor rework came out, and we're kind of talking about it's nice to have these relatively simpler heroes in the game, because I think that's a nice thing as well. It's great when you have super complicated heroes, but I like the idea that you have a hero that's a bit more straightforward sometimes, but in like it's still a fun interactive hero, but they're not like crazy complex. They're not like working off all these weird resets and things like that. They're a little bit more straightforward, but still, you know, solid. And I thought that ties into it as well, because when you fight Hogger, Hogger is one of the most iconic iconic characters out of the World of Warcraft. Like literally in the human starting zone, he was the first elite mob you ever ran into. So he made a big impression on us new players. You can imagine this was back in, what was it, 2004?
Something along those lines.
Something along those lines. So I think I was about like 13 or 14. I was just a little kid. YouTube didn't exist. Twitch didn't exist. Like
we had to pay per minute for our internets.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like in Ireland, broadband was like, I think it's just a very, very new thing. We were on dial-up connections. You had to like dialing your phone to get on the internet before that. It was a long time ago, really. You walked in here, and then you fight this elite mob, and he was terrifying. And like,
what is that dragon around his frame? What does that mean?
Yeah. It's not like today. There's so much info that's so easy to get with the internet now. You're like, what's Hogger? Oh yeah, great. There's like a bazillion YouTube videos how to beat Hogger. No, it wasn't like that at all. Like people used to make raids to beat Hogger. It was insane. So I was like, okay, let's kind of keep it a bit true to that. You know, that this idea of like the raid boss,
right?
Kind of like what they did with Arthas, right? Give him that raid boss feeling, like this big scary dude. But he's not going to be doing crazy things. Like he was the elite in the first zone. He's not super crazy, but he still does some cool stuff. Okay, so we dive into his abilities and then talk about him.
Oh boy, this one will be good. We're going to start with the trait.
Okay, so the trait is called a posse. So for this one, Hogger is accompanied by two Gnoll bodyguards.
Yep.
And these guys, they'll be a bit like Misha, but you don't really have direct control. They'll just kind of follow Hogger around, right? And they're just going to help out, man. These bodyguards are just going to beat up the dudes that Hogger's fighting himself.
And that's what the sounds they make, right?
Yeah. So I thought this would be awesome. So, you know, I say Hogger gets like +5 armor. That seems fairly, you know, it's noticeable, but it's not OP or anything. Give an armor bonus for each one that's alive. So there's, you know, a reason to kill these posse members, and some talents will tie into it as well. But yeah, there's just these big dudes. They're out there. They're fighting with you. You know, they're helping you beat up heroes. They're helping you push the lane, fight merc camps, whatever. You get a bonus while they're alive. And then they like have a Misha-esque respawn. So again, I thought, you know, it's just that cool. It's that Hogger vibe. You know, you're the leader, the war chief of the Gnolls, and you've got, you know, your dudes, your bros, just hanging out with you at all times, right?
And then whenever one of those posse members respawns, you have the original sound file from World of Warcraft, and you trigger and aggro one of those Gnolls, like, and then they come over. Exactly. Oh, there's so many possibilities for Blizzard to do this.
Yep. Make a Murloc skin as well. There you go.
There we go.
Yeah, those sounds that just strike fear into the heart of every, you know, early game vanilla WoW player. They just stick with you.
All right. Yeah. No, that's so awesome. Like, once again, we just saw Azmodan like getting a little bit of love to his demons. We could certainly tailor and tinker a couple of talents around the Hogger minions, the Hogger bodyguards. Yeah. Super cool. I'm loving it.
Yeah. Because, like, you know, Misha's way ahead of Rexxar. It's kind of like, oh, we're fighting Misha, and Rexxar's way in the back.
And she counts as a hero, whereas those guys probably wouldn't.
Exactly. Yeah, whereas this time, and like other heroes, maybe they throw in their summons. Summons are fairly disposable. These ones are more substantial. It's like, oh, here comes Hogger with his bros, and they're all up in our face. It's like he's kind of like his own personal army, you know? All right, so for his Q ability, this one is Vicious Slice.
There we go.
And again, these are just rough numbers, a rough idea, but basically I was thinking it would empower your next melee attack to do bonus damage, let's say 50%, and would do a mark on the target for 3 seconds. That would make all your allied attacks, so heroes or your posse members as well, do 1% maximum HP bonus damage to the target. So I thought, you know, it's just a fun little gameplay thing, you know, empower your next basic attack. It's relatively simple to do. It's not a skill shot, anything like that, but it does substantial damage. And then it awards players for, you know, teams for playing well, for punishing the target that Hogger slices up. doing it with your posse, you know, they get bonus damage as well. That all adds up. It's a small thing, but it does add up when you play around it in a smart way. So I thought that'd be pretty fun and work in that posse.
I don't think we mentioned this, but his role was intended to be a warrior/bruiser.
Yeah, I see him as he'd be like a solo laner type hero, I think, for the most part.
So basically, like, he wouldn't be the burstiest of hero anyways. So it's a nice addition to his damage output potential, but it's not like he's gonna, you know, become like a one-shot hero or anything.
No, it's definitely not the goal. He's supposed to be, I would say, like this big tanky dude with his tanky enough bros on the front, just putting out that sustained damage and being that bruisery threat. Yeah.
just had to laugh here. We're going to give a shout out to Razalath here in the chat because he said, is Hogger countered by a swarm of level 1 chromies, though? And referring to those level 1 player raids, right?
Yeah, it's true.
All going for naked gnomes.
Yeah, it's amazing. Exactly. Probably would be. You have to be.
Good times, dude. Good times.
Yeah. So for his W, I call it Null Frenzy. And what this would do would boost the movement and attack speed of Hogger and the posse. And I thought, you know, okay, let's make it a bit interesting. Let's say it has a 12-second cooldown and a 6-second duration. So you could have it like, kind of like 50% uptime. And I thought it'd be kind of fun if it would kind of stack up those bonuses higher and higher over the duration.
Right.
So it's kind of like he does a little war cry thing and they all start going crazy, like, yeah, let's go beat these guys up. And they keep getting kind of stronger and faster. So it gives you a bit of that, you know, in combat movement speed. You know, you can kind of plan around it, be like, okay, well, this is getting more powerful, so I want to make sure maybe use the first little bit to gap close, but then I want to make the most of the attack speed bonus.
Yeah.
Maybe combo it with that vicious slice ability. We're doing that extra little bit of damage per hit. Get loads of little hits in for extra damage. People know then, okay, if we CC Hogger or the posse, you know, if we do something to them during the end of their frenzy, that they'll be tired out after that, right? It's tough work being a null, so you know they can't keep it up all the time. So we can work around it. I thought it'd be kind of fun.
No, for sure. It's already got inbuilt synergy with his Q as well. Yeah. You know, the more attack speed you have, the more percentage damage you're going to deal onto your opponents. I like it. It's nice and easy, you know, and I think that's very important when you play, you know, sometimes a bruiser, because you're probably in that solo lane, and if you have like complicated skill shots everywhere, it doesn't really make the hero that much, you know, reliable and viable in lane.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's great to have complex heroes, but it's also great to have simpler heroes as well. It's nice to have the different levels of it for different situations. So his E, I'm going to call Gnaw the Bones.
Gnaw the Bones.
Another very null themed thing.
Yeah.
So this one you can activate this and it would heal you for a large chunk of your HP.
Isn't that actually one of his abilities in WoW?
I think so. I know for a fact that Vicious Slice is, because I was Googling it. Like, what are Hogger's abilities? And Vicious Slice is the one that always comes up.
There we go.
And then Null Frenzy, I feel, is pretty typical, too, of Knolls. And then I think Gnaw the Bones might have been. It might have been. I can't remember off the top of my head now. But it feels very Knollish anyway. So this would be, you know, heal, let's say, 30% of his HP over a short time. It would have a big, chunky cooldown, let's say a minute cooldown. But every time you kill a minion, it lowers the cooldown a little bit. Every time you kill a hero, it lowers the cooldown a large bit. So the idea is that every time Hogger kills something, he's kind of like collecting the bones. And then like Gnaw the Bones, he's kind of like, him and his posse, you know, they start chowing down on those bones.
Yeah.
Get that delicious marrow. Yum, yum. No.
And you know what? I always like super impactful abilities that could have a tremendous cooldown, because I don't think there's a single basic ability in the game right now that has a 1 minute cooldown. Not even a 30-second cooldown, I believe.
No. Yeah, no, I don't think so. I know there's a couple that have a big cooldown off the top of my head, but nothing that big.
And we don't have, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't think we have any... this is basically acting like a pseudo reset, right? Because if you take a hero down, you get like a really significant cooldown reduction of half the duration. So we don't really have any protective cooldown resets in the game, right? It's only damage, like Genji, Li Ming, Greymane. But we don't really have a tank who gets like a super big boon of, you know, taking down enemy heroes.
I mean, like the Haka with the hero stalker talents kind of works similar to this. So this I very much base this kind of around that. Right. But this would be just baseline. This is how the kit works. Whereas the Haka, a lot of people, and the meta thing to do is to spec him more into generating essence from killing minions, whereas Hogger kind of gets some of those resets off heroes. And like just to enable him to be in that front line beating fools up a bit more, you know, you have that heal, but you have to think about how you're going to use it. I like it. And then just, you know, delicious enemy heroes just feast on their corpses to heal up a little bit.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it, dude.
There you
I told you. I told you guys this kit was going to be great.
Yeah. So
ready for the first heroic?
The first heroic. Okay.
Oh,
so
here we go.
Heroic.
It's my favorite thing ever.
This one's called the Doom of Elwyn. I actually saw a couple of different names for this. There was also the Scourge of Elwyn and things like that.
Yeah.
But this one, I don't know if you had the full description. Yeah, you do. Okay, so relive the horror of raiding Hogger as a level 1 raid group. So Hogger temporarily gains stats commensurate to about 10 levels worth of stats. So like for 10 seconds, it's like Hogger, he goes elite mode, right?
Yeah. He becomes let's say you're playing, the elite mob.
Yeah, he becomes that raid boss. So, I mean, 10 levels of stats is about 40% more hit points, mana, damage, all the rest. I think you should get that gold elite dragon portrait around Hogger's portrait if you're playing him.
Absolutely.
You know? And just like, okay, Hogger's just beast
and he should gain size,
yeah.
you know, he should become bigger, leaner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He becomes bigger and badder.
Yeah.
Like you target him, instead of seeing his level, you just see a skull. You know, it's scary.
Oh, you see the question mark, you know, in WoW when you have like a super boss monster, you see the question mark. You don't know his level anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So I just thought that'd be hilarious. You know, and they would have to have that flavor text of reliving the horror, the terror of fighting Hogger when you first find him. Yeah.
Oh man, it's
I had
so
a lot
good.
of fun with that one.
And of course, it would be probably have like a significant cooldown, and would probably have a relatively short duration to prevent him from going out of control. But I just love it, man. I don't think we have any mechanics in the game like that, like a hero gaining levels and stats boosts. And it's super easy to do for them, right? They wouldn't even have to change or introduce a new mechanic. They would just make this hero stronger, you know, individually.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. The thing is, it wouldn't be super OP because, you know, a lot of the power that comes from levels is tied into talents. Yeah, you don't get the talents, right? This is just the stats.
Just pure stats.
But it also draws attention to how those stat boosts that you do get from leveling up matter as well. But yeah, like it would just feel like, oh shit, Hogger, like this is terrifying, right? It's a giant gnoll, and he's super tough.
And then he gets attack speed, and he's gonna hit you with that big cleaver.
Yeah, exactly. Like that full-on raid boss. You're suddenly this scared level 1, you know, human priest in your cloth robe with your, you know, gray wooden stick with no stats on it. You're like, oh my god. Yeah. So that's what I went for there.
There's a good question in the chat, by the way, by Joshua Kelly. With the minions, the posse also get buffs? Or is it just
I would say no. I think just him. Yeah, I think just him. So you would have some counterplay. Like, okay, well, let's attack the posse instead, kill those off, remove the armor that they're giving and the bonuses they're giving. So a bit of counterplay, and also it would be kind of weird if the posse got buffed too. I think you just want Hogger, just be like, no, this is the dude. This is the dude. Hogger's the man.
Nice.
The other guys, they're just his posse. You know, they're just his bros. It's like
no matter what you would have come up as his R2, his second heroic ability, it loses. There's no chance anyone is ever going to pick the other heroic ability, no matter how epic it is.
Yeah. It's like Hogger's 50 cents, and the posse is like the G unit. You know,
exactly.
Like, that's the relationship's going on here, right? All right. Well, let's talk about his R2.
We still gotta mention it. Yep, honorary mention.
Yeah. Okay. So this one's called the Big Crew.
The Big Crew.
So with this one, I was like, all right, what else could we do with them? So I said, let's make this a posse-based one. So this would instantly revive all the dead posse members, and then it would double the number of posse members that you have. So by default, he has 2 posse members. This would revive them, so you have those 2 back, and then you'd have an extra 2 posse dudes would come in as well. So you'd have like this big army of gnolls just like trudging along with you. Again, reliving that Hogger experience. You're fighting Hogger, you back up a bit, you're like, oh my god. Then oh no.
There's another one from the cave, another one.
I've aggroed another one, which on its way over here just aggroed another one. Here come all these flipping
The other one just respawned. God damn it.
Yeah, they just they respawn underneath you like, oh my god. Yeah, exactly. So I thought that would be kind of fun, like a fun little alternative.
Yeah.
I don't know, like maybe you could get like a bit of a longer duration, or when we talk about some of the talents, if we have time for that, like I thought you can make it synergize a bit with the talents.
Sure.
So it could open up some gameplay ways there.
Yeah.
And yeah, you would get
exactly.
Extra armor
you get 20 armor
member
instead of 10.
Bam. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So there's yeah, it synergizes nicely with all of his base kit, you know. So like
it
the
probably
Doom
has
of
a
Elwyn.
much shorter cooldown than the other one.
Yeah, or maybe like a little bit of longer duration. I don't know exactly how you'd balance it out, but yeah, you got like the Doom of Elwyn, which is boom, Hogger becomes the raid boss. He's just massive, he's tough, he hits like a truck, he's terrifying for a short time. Where you got the big crew, where it's like, okay, well, Hogger, he's still big and tough, but now he's got a big old posse with him, and those guys are here, and they mean business as well. So, yeah, two different flavors of the Gnoll King.
Oh man. So I'm all sorts of crazy combos and crazy team compositions are just floating through my mind right now. Like, what if you went for Doom of Elwyn at level 10, you have a Rhaegar in your team, and boom, you drop the Bloodlust, and that 10 level monster of an abomination is going to hit you with that Bloodlust.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that would be
and
pretty
also
terrifying.
healing himself for God only knows how much damage he would heal himself for.
They just nerfed Ancestral in like yesterday's patch as well. They're preparing.
True.
Blizzard is preparing for the Hogger attack. It's happening.
Oh man, it would be absolutely glorious. I love it, and I can already see him with the help of his posse and the attack speed and all the other stuff that he's got going on, becoming actually a pretty good anti-bruiser. Actually, he's a bruiser himself, but he also becomes an anti-bruiser, right? Percentage damage, attack speed.
Yeah, 100%. That's definitely something I wanted to do.
You wanted to talk about some of the talents too, right?
I did, yeah.
Like ideas about
I mean,
talents,
like just to finish that thought, he's not the type of hero that he's not one of these hyper mobile dudes that's diving the back line and killing the squishies. Like he's just
see him coming.
Big Gnoll. You see him coming. He's just gonna come up. He's gonna start smacking on that front line and taking the hits himself. He's a big elite Gnoll. That's what he does. But yeah, I don't know if you have the talents up on screen. I can just like
I don't have them on screen, unfortunately. Sorry.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, just real quick, you could have like a posse tier, and then I came up with some cool level 20s that I do want to throw out there because I thought some of them were quite fun. But like the posse tier is like, okay, let's let you customize your posse a bit. So for example, you have the strong posse. This time it changes your gnolls, your posse gnolls, to be armored gnolls. So they're bigger, they're tougher,
nice.
More HP. Maybe they're not as vulnerable to CC. So just, okay, my posse's getting focused. I want these guys. Alternatively, you could have like the big posse, which is you just get one extra gnoll. So they're still the regular squishy gnolls, but you got more of them. So it's going to trigger more damage off that vicious slice. You get that 5 extra armor for having one alive. Could synergize well with the big crew. You could have 6 of these little gnolls out, that sort of stuff. Well, that'd be cool. Or then, mage gnolls. So you got like one of those caster gnolls. There were little guys in Warcraft 3, I know. They like swing like lightning.
Yeah. There's also there's like little caster gnolls in World of Warcraraft.
Yeah. So there you go.
It's like, okay, maybe... I think they have a lot of shaman dudes.
Yeah, there you go. So you could have those little like castery type guys. So they'd be a bit squishier, but they'd be ranged, and maybe they have a bit of a splash attack, help you with that wave clear a little bit. So you can kind of customize your posse a bit. Thought that'd be kind of fun. And then level 20, I came up with a few fun ones. So one of them I thought would be lead by example. So this is Hogger cannot die so long as a single posse member is still alive.
Oh my god, that's a 20 talent right there.
Yeah. So it's like, it's like I can't let my bros down. I gotta show them how it's done. So he just will not die until you kill those posse members.
Oh
just
my
keep trucking at 1 hit point.
I think we would have to, like, if we talked about talents like these, which is amazing. Like, how would these posse members, surround Hogger? Would they be like super close to him? Would they have a little distance? Would they circle around him?
Yeah. That's the tough thing. I think they kind of like maybe flank him to either side, and then if you had extra ones, they kind of again flank to the side as well. So he kind of gives that visual impression of this like horde of dudes just coming at you head on. It's like that scene in the typical scene in the movie where it's like the line of horsemen crests the hill. So it's like, and it's a really thin line. It's like 1 horse deep or something, but it looks epic on the top of that hill. It's that kind of feel, Or then my other level 20 talent, which is my favorite one, I gotta say. I call this one, it's called Bring Your Kid to Work Day. So you have a little baby gnoll, which is really squishy, following Hogger around. So a bit behind him, just kind of wanders around after. Cute little baby. And if that gnoll gets killed,
if
the enemy team accidentally kills the baby gnoll with like AoE, or they click it by accident with their single target attacks.
Or senses the flame strike.
Yeah, exactly. It sends Hogger and his posse totally crazy. They enrage. So they get like 20% more health, 20% more damage, 20% more movement speed for like, I don't know, like 10 seconds or something. Like these dudes are like, you killed my kid, you killed baby Noel, we're gonna get you. Dude. No, I just thought that'd be hilarious, right? It's like, oh shit, yeah, Kael'thas, for goodness sake, don't hit the baby Noel. Be careful with the flame strikes, you know? It's like, that's the kid, respect the kid, be nice. You know, he's a super cute little Noel.
All right, I love it, dude. Probably Heroes of the Storm would go from PEGI 15 or whatever it is right now to PEGI 18.
Yeah. You'd have to raise the
marketing team says, no, we can't do that, guys. Developers, we can't do that.
Yeah, maybe, but man, it would be so much fun though.
Oh my goodness, so nice.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. That is that's my Hogger theory craft in there.
Cool, man. All right, so I mean, there's nothing else to say other than this would be an amazing kit, and I would love to see that in the game. Hogger, I think, is slowly but surely becoming the new Deathwing. You know, a lot of community members are so hyped about him. I know Kalaris, for a fact, is a super big fan of Hogger as well. I think he even posted like photoshopped character selection screens. Speaking of screenshots, by the way, you haven't seen this one? I'm going to show you guys what Dragonflame also sent me, right? It's not just that he's an absolute boss when it comes to designing these icons or like a portrait of the Hogger, but he actually sent me an in-game screenshot, so prepare your bodies for this one.
Ooh.
Okay, you can see it right here. I'm going to make it a little smaller so it fits here. He actually drew and photoshopped Hogger and his posse. You can see them right there.
Oh my god.
Into the battle. You see the little baby one actually right behind Hogger.
It's so good.
That would be amazing.
Hell yeah. Like, look at them. It's like an army of gnolls with a giant knoll in the middle. It's terrifying.
Oh my. They're all wearing their own little outfits as well, like blue, red, pink, purple.
Yep.
So good.
Oh man.
Dragonflame, man, you're a crazy one. Well done.
I just like imagine as well that like you could hear through the fog. It's like super loud. You just hear the gnoll sounds, even through the fog of war.
Yeah.
So you just like you're walking like, are you in this bush? And you just hear like, no. Like, oh yeah, they're in the bush. Here they come.
Oh
yeah,
boy,
that's super cool. That's great work. Dragonflame really knocked out of the park on that one. He did a great job.
Absolutely. And the fact that he would actually say he would be trying to do this for every episode, every episode of Chop Shop here in the Combat for the Storm podcast. I can't wait to get on the next one. But I think it's safe to say, no matter what I come up with in 2 weeks' time, it's never going to be that awesome as the Gnoll. As Hogger. It's just so nice.
I'm glad you liked it, man. I'm glad you liked it.
All right, man. But unfortunately, we're running pretty short on time. Almost 2 hours again. And this time we didn't even have a third guest. So this is basically why we had the secret ominous Gnoll blurred out. But yeah, Nubkeks, man, it's been a pleasure as always.
As always, dude. Yeah,
I think you killed it with a Hogger there as well. Fantastic work.
Cheers.
And before we close out the show, though, I want you to have the last word and give some shout outs and maybe tell us like where you're going to go for vacation, where your goals are, where your plans are.
All right, yeah, no specific addresses. Thank you, guys. But no, I'm going to Spain. Nice sunny Spain. It's fun. It's a heat wave in Ireland at the moment. I don't know if I said it during this podcast, but it's been super hot here today. Like the average. Oh, Kendrick, you charmer. But the average hottest temperature in Ireland is in its hottest month, which is July. It's usually 15 degrees Celsius. It's now 26 degrees Celsius today. I think like the north, it's like 50 degrees Fahrenheit, and now it's like 80 degrees Fahrenheit or something. So it's like super hot for Ireland.
And you're in the Dublin area?
Yeah, it's in Dublin. Yeah, I live in Dublin. So it's super hot today, but that's like preparation for going to Spain. You know, so I'm ready.
You're ready.
Drink lots of sangria, enjoy the sun, enjoy the culture. It's gonna be great.
Nice.
So yeah, we're going to to a little village somewhere, just to enjoy real chill holiday, just relax. Should be nice. So yeah, it's gonna be a week off, which is awesome. In terms of shout out, I would like to give just a small shout out, just one person today, which is to Chris over on the Blizzard EU team. He's one of the community managers over there. So I I guess a lot of you guys watching were probably watching during the week. Myself and Kendrick did a stream, and Chris hooked us up with a bunch of codes. He hooked me up with like a cool Horde jersey and stuff like that. So yeah, just special shout out to him for organizing that stuff and doing great work, promoting Heroes of the Storm. I'm sure like everyone else in Blizzard as well, there's loads of people doing an absolutely phenomenal job. I mean, we see that the community stuff around the whole Alterac Pass has been phenomenal, but I've had personal interactions with Chris, so personal shout out to him.
Nice. And last but not least, my shout out goes out to all of you guys. Thank you so much for watching this podcast on a regular basis every 2 weeks. It's been an absolute blast, having Nubkeks there presenting us those awesome heroes. Shout outs to Hager as well for making it in here. And yeah, feel free to share this podcast as well. You're probably going to watch it on Nubkeks' YouTube channel as well. Feel free to channel your energy into this and share it with your friends. And we'll be back in 2 weeks from now, very likely with another guest. And, Nubkeks is going to be rejuvenated and reinvigorated after his vacation in Spain.
No more pasty white Irishman. Exactly. I'm going to be this golden god. Senor Nubkeks. Normal Nubkeks leaves. Senor Nubkeks
I'm totally expecting nice bronze pictures on the Twitters and Instagram now, Nubkeks. You raised the bar. You got to deliver now.
Oh, man. It's like, help, I am lost. Where do I go? I don't understand the street signs. It's going to be.
So, yeah, and that was it for this episode. Feel free to tweet at us. You can see our Twitters down below. How you like the show, if there's any feedback. Once again, I'm going to try the best that I can do to get this show up on the podcast sources like Spotify, iTunes, etc., etc. So you're going to be able to listen to us there as well. And until then, see you guys. Nubkeks and I are now going to play a couple of games maybe with some of you guys out there who are watching on Twitch. So watching it on Twitch, twitch.tv/KendricSwish, always a nice thing to do as well. And take care, guys, and enjoy the rest of your days.
See you later. Bye-bye.